वृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मा
Not sure why it stopped. Internet connection. I've lost the internet connection from the laptop. Not sure why. I'll have to look into that. This is kind of strange. It was on a minute ago. Hopefully the camera is on. I think it seems to be okay. So Chandra, somehow the internet connection to the laptop has gone off. Let me see. Yeah, I could play it on the iPod, but I think that'll be more complicated. Just 1 second. The Wi-Fi is on. Mobile data. This is very strange. Not sure what's happening. Not connected, no networks, Bluetooth is on. I'm going to power off and come back again. Hopefully the class will start still at 8 o'clock, but we would lose the chanting. It's powering on, but saying that the firmware is being updated. See, what time do we have? Okay, well, you know what? Let us start the class. This will go on. We'll see how it... Glad at least the iPod is working and the camera is working. So let's say a prayer and then we'll start the class. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvisha Vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So in the last class, what we had seen primarily is the main tatparya, the main idea behind Purusha Suktam. So if you recall what that is, it is to find unity in disunity. And unity means a peace of mind and happiness and joy. Disunity is just the opposite, where we have a conflict, our mind is disturbed, and we are not at peace with ourselves. So this is why unity is an important thing. If you have just examined your life, you find that whenever you have a peaceful state of being, then you also have a lack of any conflicting ideas, conflicts in your life. So you have a pause from all the conflicts and you are more or less under the spell of unity. Of course, the issue is that the unity that we normally experience in our life is relative unity, not absolute unity. And what that means is that it is subject to being disturbed. It appears that you have unity, and you do for a while, but then something happens and you are no longer in unity. And unity really means non-dual, Advaita. And non-unity means Dvaitam, multiplicity, duality, multiplicity. That's what it really means. So now the lesson of Purusha Suktam is this. Advaita is not possible empirically. Even though we try to find Advaita empirically, relative Advaita, not complete Advaita. So many times, for example, whenever you have a spat with someone, and your mind is disturbed and you have the anxiousness to make up, and you make up not for the sake of anyone else, but for the sake of your own peace of mind, then you have a attempt at Advaita with respect to this situation. Supposing you have a spat with your spouse, and then however it ends through some I'm sorry, this, that or the other, and whatever it is, and you physically embrace, you mentally embrace, and now you are back to a state of peace and happiness. So now we say that Advaita is not possible empirically. Empirically means that with the way life is going, with so much change, so many situations occurring and so on, for you to expect that all of them are non-conflicting is not realistic. It's not going to happen. And we don't really have an alternative, because we try to see, this is the thing, this is an important thing to see. Our attempt at unity is to find relative unity amongst the disunity. And to a large extent we are successful, sometimes we are not. And this is what constitutes joys and suffering in our life. This is what happens. And Swami Dayananji had given this beautiful example. He says, in a way it is like looking at an ocean, and looking at an ocean from the viewpoint of one of the waves in the ocean. And it looks around and it sees a lot of other waves in the ocean that can be threatening. There is diversity in it. And sometimes it is unifying, sometimes it is disunifying. And the attempt of the wave in the ocean to find a permanent unity is to pray that all the waves subside. All the waves subside. And in fact, this is the folly from our Vedantic standpoint, this is the folly of the meditation and yogic samadhi. This is what happens. In the yogic samadhi, through Patanjali's yoga, you have all these steps, yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara, etc., etc. And then finally you are supposed to become so quiet that, really speaking, whether it is unifying thought or disunifying thought, it does not subside. It subsides, kind of like a deep sleep. And you are just by yourself and you really enjoy that. And when you do, you expect that to continue. But it is not natural. It is exactly like expecting the whole ocean to become quiet. The ocean is also saying, what are you talking about? This is not normal. It's not normal. It's not, it can't happen. Okay, for a short time maybe I can subside all the waves, there's no wind or anything, but this is natural. And so this is what our attempt is, that from an empirical standpoint, we look for unity. Here, Purusha Suktam says, no, you're just making a basic mistake. What you have to see is, while you are experiencing duality, you don't try to make duality go away, but you look for non-duality within duality. This is what you have to do. And this looks extremely unlikely doesn't appear that it's possible, but the whole the scriptural Shastra. So Shastra, the word Shastra is an important one. Shasanat trayate iti Shastra. Shasanat means that it gives you a very definite instruction. Like someone who's an expert and says, yes, this will happen. Do this. And tra can have two meanings. One is that where this instruction is given. So the word tra can also be indicative of desha, of a place. Like you say atra, yatra, kutra, where, wherever, yatra yatra samadhayaha, yatra yatra manogati, tatra tatra samadhayaha. This is going to happen in one of our verses in Driktisya Viveka coming up in a few weeks. So tra means a place. It also means a protector. Like the word putraha. So the putraha means a son that protects you from, son or daughter, really your children, who can protect you from any papa karma that might be unfinished. Like for example, supposing you took a big debt from someone, and before you had a chance to pass it away, you pass away. And then your debt has not been passed, has not been finished yet. So the son and the daughter will hopefully own it and pay it off. This is the meaning of putra. So anyway, so the Shastra means Shasanat trayate or trayate. So this is Shastra. So the Shastra says that this is not possible. And please look for a better way, which is that while there is diversity, you can see the lack of diversity. And you say, is that possible? How can that be? Because it's like making the ocean all quiet. Shastra says there is another way. There is another way. And so that way is being explained in the Purusha Suktam. And so one can see this as we study with the Shastric meaning of Purusha Suktam. And what it says is that you have unity in your heart, but you are not sensitive to it. You don't know where it is. You're not looking at the right place. And so the whole explanation of Purusha Suktam, etc., is to unfold this vision. And it says, as part of doing that listen, first you please understand that Purusha, which is a synonym for Ishvara, the Samashti Purusha, the Ishvara, the Lord, the very creator, the very protector, and the destroyer, having all three aspects of creation in his power, that Ishvara, that Purusha, is all-encompassing. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma, Brahman eva. The whole thing is nothing but undifferentiated consciousness. And it is kind of like an infinite ocean of consciousness. Infinite consciousness. Chidakasha. The word Chidakasha is used. So the Akasha, which is space, is well known to us. But Chidakasha is not known to us, even though it is my own nature. which we will see how. And so the Chidakasha is the ocean of consciousness. And the ocean of consciousness is the one that gives rise to the infinite forms of the whole creation. Infinite number of waves. And unpredictable at any places, infinite number of shapes, of functions, of duration. Infinite number, not large, infinite. So this is the meaning of, we'll perhaps go into that in more detail in some other class perhaps, is the Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate. It says that if you really understand the content and the shape of Purusha, then even as a manifestation it is infinite, in the sense that the number of manifestations is infinite, and as no manifestations it is also infinite. Because, and in fact we get a sample of that in deep sleep. We don't have any limitation. We don't have any saying, okay, I am happy now and later on I will be not happy or whatever. No. You are just one with Ishvara. And it's a non-dual duality. And so it is possible that the ocean itself has no expression. And when there is expression, there is infinite number of expressions. And so with that, let us start with verse number 5. And what verse number 5 says is how diversity expresses itself, how the diversity of the whole creation, how does it come about? What is the process? And what is the sequence? And be aware of the reality of this creation. All of that will come. But to introduce all of that, to introduce the expression of diversity from the inherent non-diversity, this verse number 5 is started. So let us go into that. Verse number 5. We have already seen the first 4 verses. And the idea of the first 4 verses is the infinite nature of the Purusha. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasra Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishtat Dashangulam Purusha Eva Idagum Sarvam Yad Bhutam Yatcha Bhavyam Utamritatvasya Shanaha Yadan Nenati Rohati Etavanasya Mahima Ato Jaya Gascha Purushaha Padosya Vishwabhutani Tripadasya Divi Tripadurdva Udait Purushaha Pado Asya Eva Asya Iha Abhavat Punaha Tato Vishwang Vyakramata Sashananashane Abhi. This was the 4 verses. Sashananashane Abhi. That from it both the sentient as well as the non-sentient things come out. And this is nothing esoteric about it. This is exactly what happens in our dream. Because our dream is nothing but a microcosm of the whole creation. So from you, the conscious person, things in the dream come out which are conscious and also inert. So you are the ones who sees a dream of other people talking to you, bothering you, being friendly to you, or you have a chair and a table that don't move at all. That happens in the dream also. Anyway, with that, the 4th verse ends. And now we start the verse number 5. So I will pronounce it, and then you kindly pronounce. I'll do it twice, so the second time you can also do that. Tasma'at viradajayata. Tasma'at viradajayata. Virajo adhipurushaha. Virajo adhipurushaha. Sajato atyaritjata. Sajato atyaritjata. Paschad bhumi matho puraha. Paschad bhumi matho puraha. So let us look at the word meaning of that. So tasmat. So tasmat means a pronoun. It means from that. From that. So from what? Purushaha. From that Purushaha, which was explained in the first 4 verses. That Purusha that has been under discussion. Tasmat. And from that, Virad ajayata. Virad is born. And so we will see what Virad means, but I'm just giving you the word meaning of the entire mantra. Tasmat Virad ajayata. Virajaha adhipurushaha. From the Virad, a Purusha is born. Adhipurushaha is born. Purushaha here means Purushaha. This is a long U, Purushaha, but it is just a poetic way of that. We cannot do that, but the Vedas can do some poetry. So Purushaha here means Purushaha. And what kind of a Purusha we will see in a minute. So from the Ishvara Virat, Virat is born, and from Virat another Purusha is born. Sahajataha atyarichyata. So this Purusha which is born, the second Purusha that is born, is now you can say disconnected. Atyarichyata. So Atyarichyata is also a very meaningful word with lots of implications that Swami Maheshananji has has explained with a lot of detail and so on. We will look into that. So Sajataha Atyarichyata means that this secondary Purusha which has been created, which is you and I, by the way. That secondary Purusha is you and I. Atyarichyata means that something is done to it. It is separated from the original Purusha. So-called separated. Not really separated, but kind of like, when a wave is created. So you create a possibility of an identity of a wave which is separate from the ocean. If the wave was not yet expressed, there was no possibility of separation, but as the wave is created, you can create an apparent separation. The wave is never separated from the ocean, whether even though it is moving around and in the air also, but it is not really separated from the ocean. But there is an apparent separation. We will go into that. Sajato atyarichyata. Paschad bhumim ajayata. So after that, after the Purushas are created, so this is a sequence. We will go into the sequence in a minute. So after the Purusha are separated, Bhumi is created. Means all of the things that are meant for your enjoyment are created. I will go into that. Athaha puraha. And so it is done as a puraha. So Puraha means a place of enjoyment. A city is called Puraha. So as we were just looking at it in another class, so in India also what you find is Pura means the name of a city. Kanpur, Bhagalpur, all these names have called Pur, at least the Sanskritized names. When the Mughals came, they changed all the name to Ahmedabad and so on. And now there is an attempt to bring it back to the Vedic structure again. So, but anyway, that is the Puraha, and so we will go into that. So anyway, that is the word meaning of this verse number 5. Tasmad virad ajayata virajaha adipurushaha jayata sajataha atyarichyata, separated, paschad bhumim atha puraha jayata. This is the sequence. So now let us look at the commentary on this first verse, on this verse number 5. Okay. So in summary, this is going to go on for a while. So let's make sure that we are very clear about the sequence. Okay. So I'll just talk about the sequence, and then we'll go back and discuss the details of each one of them. So Virat means the Brahmanda Deha, the entire cosmic body, if you may. And really that is visible. It is visible. And so we can see stars and sun and planets and earth and infinite. The human mind tries to grasp how big this is, and all the science comes up with some kind of a postulation. Some say that it is expanding and then it is retracting and so on. Infinite. Science is wrong. It is infinite. You go to the edge of it, you'll find another universe. You go to the edge of that, there'll be another universe. Infinite. There are infinite number of stars. Swami Dayanand used to say that. He says, there are infinite number of Purusha Suktam classes going on in the whole creation. We think, we are the only ones and there is nothing else. No. Infinite. Infinite number of jivas, infinite number of papa karma, punya karma. Everything is infinite. There's no large. Very, 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 very important point. And so this is what is called Virat. And the definition of Virat is, I have it written somewhere here. Yeah, it says Vividhani Rajante Vastuni Atra iti Virat. Means that, so another thing about the word Virat is not only that it is an infinite creation, infinite number of things, but the variety of things is also infinite. Vividhani Vastuni Rajante. They say that, for example, at this moment, this is just an estimate, a very large percentage of the beings above the ground have been categorized already. We know, we're surprised there is some kind of a new insect is found and we are not able to see where to put it. It's a brand new one, no one saw that. So that is diminishing. So our flora and fauna is being categorized very well. But it turns out that under the bottom of the sea, we still have a very low percentage of things that we have been categorized. Most of them is brand new. We come up with new shapes of fish that we have never seen before. And similarly, what we find is that in caves and in rocks that inside the rock, there are insects that have somehow survived thousands of years. So here Swami Maheshananji had quoted a verse from, let me read it. By the way, in this book, Purusha Suktam, and the commentary by Swami Maheshananji, he has relied quite a bit on Sri Sureshwaracharya's Vartika on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And so, which is a voluminous Vartika, voluminous. And it is not available. I have not read it yet. It is supposed to be a very where is it? So just one point on that. It is said that out of all the Upanishads, the most comprehensive, long and meaningful Upanishad is Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which I have tried to study a couple of times. The commentary by Adi Shankara on Brihadaranyaka is supposed to be his best commentary on any Upanishad. Because the Upanishad itself is very deep, and then the commentary is very deep. And he had asked his best student, Sureshwaracharya, to write a Vartika on his Bhashya on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And this is very subtle and very deep with lots of different meanings and so on. And so Swami Maheshananji quotes that very well. He's very, very well versed with that. So he quotes it at many places. So I'll do that. But this one, I think this might have been from Swami Vidyaranya. I should have done a better job. Anyway, I can't find it, but the concept is that whoever made that comment, I think either Sureshwaracharya ji or perhaps even Adi Shankara, I think it was Adi Shankara's commentary. What he says is that Ishvara's Shakti is Achintya Rupaha. Achintya Rupaha. It means that you cannot even imagine the types, the variety, and the scope of this universe, how it is created by Ishvara. Just incredible. We cannot even grasp it. This is what it was said. Anyway, he was talking about that. Anyway, so this is Virat. So the first thing that happens is the expression of this Purusha, when it can be without expression, but when it expresses, this is how expression takes place. This is the sequence that we are seeing. When it expresses, it doesn't have to express. It can be just a complete unity, just like it is in a night time when we have deep sleep. But when the whole Purusha wakes up, this is what happens, which is different for the cosmic Purusha than for you and I. We already have some other sequence that we wake up with, but this is the waking up of the cosmic Purusha. When that happens, the first thing that happens is This is called Brahmanda Deha. The entire body of the entire universe, the cosmic universe, is expressed. It's kind of like, you visualize, and this is what it is said, that Ishvara, and by the way, when did it begin? That's another question that we will have to ask later on. The answer to that is, it is cyclical. It never really began. It is either in a non-differentiated form or in a differentiated form. When it becomes into a differentiated form, this is exactly how it takes place. So the first one is Brahmanda Deha, which is Virat. Then the second thing that happens is he creates the first jiva, who is the first expressed copy of himself. Very much like, for example, if you were to suppose you want to look at yourself in the mirror, then you are the Ishvara, and your copy in the mirror is your first copy. You may have other mirrors that are a little bit farther off, and you may have multiple copies, and that's a different thing, but your immediate copy looks very much like you. And here, so this, the name of this first jiva, which is called the Adi Jiva, is Brahmaji. So the Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. So the very Adi Purusha is Brahmaji. Please make a note of it that the word Brahma and Brahman are different. Brahman is the consciousness content of everything. Brahmaji, Brahma, is the first jiva whose content is Brahman, like yours and mine. There's only one Brahman for everyone. Ishvara is also the content of Ishvara is Brahman. Brahmaji's content is also Brahman. So that content means the very reality of it is, which is a neuter noun, is different. Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. When we say Aham Brahmasmi, we are Brahman. But Brahmaji, which is the Adi Purusha, is actually a person. It is not the content. It is just like a complete person, just like you and I. But here's the difference. Brahmaji is aware of who he is. Fully aware of who he is. So Ishvara has infused in Brahmaji Atma Vidya. It's Atma Vidya. And the reason I'm saying that is that Sajataha Atyarichyata. When the secondary Purushas are born, they do not have Brahma Vidya. They do not have Atma Vidya. That's you and I. We do not have Atma Vidya. Initially. Later on we do. But initially we don't. But Brahmaji was given Atma Vidya by Ishvara from the very beginning. So there is a difference. That difference is the meaning of the shloka Sajataha Atyarichyata. Okay, anyway, we'll go more into that. But anyway, so here's what happens. Please remember the sequence. So first thing is, from the original Purusha, Brahmanda Deha is born. Then the Adi Jiva is born. And the Adi Jiva gives rise to the secondary jivas. And the secondary jivas are primarily of three kinds. So this is the decision, I'm sure, under the consultation with Ishvara and so on and so forth, because the thought is already given to him that it would be good to do it in three forms. And so the three forms are Devas, celestials living in heavens, who do not have a physical body. They don't have a physical body. Because in a physical body, what happens is, I'm just going into a little bit more detail on the types of the jivas. The would have been separated. So all of them, all now from this point on, do not start with Atma Vidya. Only Brahmaji has Atma Vidya. And so now he creates three classes of jivas. One is Devas, and Devas do not have a physical body. How is that possible, we say? It's very possible, and in fact you can visualize it. So for a physical body, what needs to happen is that you have to be born under some parents, through some parents. And when you're born as parents, either as a andaja, as an egg, or in the tummy of the mother, or svetaja, from the sweat, there are different kinds of birth methods. But we have to be born through someone, and then slowly we have a physical body that expands and becomes mature, and finally it decays. So this is the physical body. We also have a software with our minds and thoughts and so on. In the case of Devas, they don't have a physical body. So they are not slowly born. They just appear on the scene from their past karmas. And we can say, wow, how is that possible? I'll tell you how it's possible. When you have a dream at night time, tell me, are the characters in your dream have a physical body? And if they do, when were they born? Were they born after you start dreaming? Were you aware of their growth while you have a person who's talking to you, and you're having some kind of a conversation with the person in the dream. When did that person grow up? How was he born? It doesn't happen. So the moment you dream, all of a sudden, without any delay, the whole scene is created. That's your experience, my experience. Not something esoteric that we cannot say, oh my God, the Devas, how is that possible, and so on and so forth. No. So the Devas have no physical body, but they also have punya papa. They can also do good and so on. Anyway, there's a lot of discussion about that in different Upanishads. I won't have time to go into that at this point. So the three classes born from Brahmaji are Devas, and the second one is Manushya, you and I, and the third one is Tiryak. Tiryak means people with horizontal bodies, and these are animals. And the animals are, and plants also. Plants are also included in that. So in these cases, they do not have enough mental capacity to evaluate themselves, evaluate others, reach some kind of a progress. They don't. They just behave in a very what is it called, automatic way. They're just born and they live through the life, and having paid those debts, they go on to the next stage of their life. So this is the Tiryak. Devas can become Atma Vidya Sambandha, they can take place, but they are having such fun that most of them take a long time to get Atma Vidya. In the case of Manushya, you and I, we have the best chance of becoming free. Why? Because unlike the animals, our self-awareness is very heightened. And unlike the Devas, we are not having as much fun as they are. In fact, we have a 50-50 chance of being unhappy as we are happy. It appears that you are more unhappy than happy, but on surface it appears to be nice. In the case of Devas, there are 99% happy and very few unhappy moments for them. As a consequence, they are not looking into Atma Vidya. The prerequisite for Atma Vidya is that you sense your unhappiness and you want to get out of it. In the case of Tiryak, all the animals, they sense their unhappiness, but they cannot get out of it. The Manushya is a very, very sacred, it's a very beautiful chance to gain freedom. Anyway, so from Brahmanda becomes Adi Jiva, which is Brahmaji. From Adi Jiva, then the secondary Jivas, you and I, the three classes, with Devas, Manushya and Tiryak are created. The next thing that happens is that to complete the sequence of enjoyment in our lives, we are given two things. One is we are given all the ingredients for enjoyment. And here, this verse that we had studied earlier, which is, I think I went over this last week, Annena atirohati, becomes significant. So Anna, as we had mentioned in the last class also, stands for bhoga, enjoyment. And so this is what it means. Paschad bhumim ajayata. Paschad bhumim ajayata means after the jivas are born, the place of their enjoyment is now created. So here Swami Maheshanji makes a very beautiful point here. He says, why did the Purusha Suktam only talked about the bhumi, which means the earth? Why doesn't he talk about all the 5 Mahabhutas, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha and Prithvi, all 5 of them? Why is he only talking about the last one? He says it is exactly like you open a shop and you put an ad in the paper which says, "We are now open for business." And the address is 765 El Camino Real, Sunnyvale. And we are providing some furniture for the backyard, open for business. And immediately in America is sale, short time sales, please come and get it. So this is the proclamation. We are open for business. So Swamiji says that just like saying bhumim athaha means that he has now created the bhumi, which means the earth. But what about the other ones? They are all included. How are they included? Because just like you make a proclamation that we are open for business, what it means is we decided to open a business that would hopefully make money. We asked for a permit from the city of Sunnyvale. We tried to look for a place and we finally found one we can afford. Then we placed the stock of the furniture, and then we hired enough people, salespeople, and so on and so forth, etc., etc., etc. All that is now complete, and now we are open for business. But you don't say in the ad, let me tell you all we had to do. We had to decide on what kind of business to do, apply for a permit, and look for a place. You don't do that. So you just say open for business. So when you say open for business, everything else that leads up to it is included. Beautiful point. Just his way of explanation and looking at the insight into these is just marvelous. And so he says that after the jiva is born, then the Pancha Mahabhutas are also born. And also then, so last one is Paschat Bhumi Atha Puraha. And so now the place of enjoyment, which is the body, mind complex, and the things of enjoyment are both created. This whole thing is now complete. The whole thing is complete. This is how the expression takes place. So you can say, in a way, this is the creation, just like you have a wave is created out of the ocean, where it was not there before, but now it is. Similarly, the transaction of human beings and animals and devas that are doing varying amounts of joy, suffering, etc., etc., which we will see in a minute as to what the nature of that is. Perhaps not in a minute, but we will see it sooner or later. This is now created. And from this now, the apparent diversity happens. And it is from a unity where this happens. How do you mean by the unity? In fact, Swami Maheswaranji points out that this word Adhipurushaha, Virajaha Adhipurushaha, is important. The meaning of the word Adhi means he creates from within himself. It's not outsourced. That I think I've decided I'm just going to give you the ideas on how this creation takes place, and you guys then take over. I have nothing to do with this. No. Ishvara is personally involved in every detail of the creation, and the creation comes from the belly of the Ishvara. Does it not? Doesn't the wave come out of the belly of the ocean? The ocean doesn't say, I think I have a blueprint for creating this wave, and let someone else create it. So this is called Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. Both the material cause and the intelligent cause is Ishvara, Purusha himself. And even when it is diverse, it is not diverse, it is just the same Ishvara. Same Ishvara. And then the other point that we should not forget, we had talked about this in the last few classes, and we should continue to keep that in mind as we progress in our study of Purusha Suktam is this, that point is this. So in a way, a couple of very important points. One is that we are looking for unity within disunity. We've already talked quite a bit about that. The second point is that if Ishvara created the diversity out of himself, within himself, not relying on anyone else, not outsourcing it, you know what that means? That means that Ishvara is the core of myself. This has to be kept in mind. Ishvara is a lower form of bhakti. It is an intermediate stage of prayerfulness to look at Ishvara outside of me. And if we do it, we are not wrong, but we are somewhat not yet reached the stage of maturity. It looks like it is outside of me. And we pray to Ishvara, please protect me. Make sure that my health is okay. Make sure my children are okay. And I pray to you. You are the creator, you are the preserver, and I bow to you. So this attitude is good. It's good because Ishvara has both the power to have what is called Saguna Brahma and Nirguna Brahma. So as Saguna Brahman, he can be your external protector. So what it really means is that you abdicate your primary responsibility to Ishvara. And there's so much discussion of all this all over this place, even before going to the Nirguna Brahman, which is really a superior form of bhakti, where you understand that, you see, if I can just spend a minute on this, then I go back to Nirguna Bhakti. If we reminded that, you remember we said, where to find Ishvara in my life? What are the possibilities? We already did that. So do not forget it. So here Swami Maheshananji's his advice. This is Swami Vidyaranya's advice from Panchadashi. I think I forget which chapter it was. It's a very detailed one, where it says, do not try to remember Ishvara, but do not try to forget Ishvara. Great advice. And what is the difference between them? Because if you try to remember Ishvara, which is what in the beginning of our study it happens, then we don't know Ishvara. We don't know how to recognize Ishvara. No instructions have been given to us. We are justified in saying, I don't know where it is, let me try to recall Ishvara. And to get to understand it, then it is okay. But if the Shastra has already given you the Upadesha, and you have tried to now understand it, perhaps not fully absorbed it, but you have a pretty good idea about what it is, then your primary emotional energy should be not to forget it. Because we get so involved in diversity. that we forget that this is the root of the diversity is unity. Anyway, so that's the point, is that do not forget Ishvara. Anyway, so this is the Nirguna Upasana, Nirguna Brahman. Now let's go back to the Saguna, which was, I did not complete that. So there, the Saguna, even though it is not as effective as Nirguna, Nirguna is at a higher stage of your development. Nevertheless, even at a Saguna level, Saguna means a relative level. So here, I think we've talked about this. This is the personality of the world, not the person of the world, which of course is Brahman. But the personality of the world is that the more you abdicate the primary responsibility of your life to Ishvara, the happier you will be. You won't be ultimately happy until you find Nirguna Brahman, but relatively speaking, you'll be happier. And Swami Maheshananji says, and I can tell you this is a personal experience of mine also, that the more you just say, Ishvara, you take care of it. I'll do the best I can, but I'm relying on you to do it. Your fulfillment of desires is that much better. You remind yourself that there is a person who created you and a person who is responsible for your growth. There is no one else who is as friendly to you as Ishvara, and you pray to Ishvara to make sure that things get done, even though they are minor, trivial compared to what needs to be, which is complete freedom. But even at that level, what I find is that things go much more smoothly. Things go smoothly. And they happen. I'll just give you one example. I mean, this is just so amazing. So when I was in India recently, about 3 months ago, it's 9 o'clock already, so I'll just make this the last example. So whenever you are in India, you look for some things to be done which are cheaper than in the US. So I found that my glasses had needed to be replaced. And going to an optometrist here means, and I wanted something, I wanted dark glasses. I've never had powered dark glasses. If we go to a local optometrist, it'll be, $500 for normal glasses, $500 for, or something like that. It's $1,000 or so on. So I asked my sister in New Delhi, I said, do you like a optometrist here that I can go to? And I only had just 3 or 4 days to stay there. She says, yes, we have a very good optometrist. All my children, when they come from Dubai and Bangalore, they all go to that. I said, wonderful. So I got myself a set of dark glasses and a set of non-dark glasses made from this optometrist. Very nice. And I was in love with that, because now these are, and there is a joy in getting things done at a cheaper price. There's some wonderful joy. I think it was like $150 each. And so I had, for $300, I had 2 pairs. Very happy. And I've been wearing it all throughout and so on, especially in the heart. The other day, I keep these glasses at a place and I couldn't find them. So I said, it must be one of the pockets somewhere. So I went upstairs into my closet, looked at my pocket, not there. Then I asked my wife, I said, have you seen my glasses? She says, no, I haven't seen your glasses. I looked around the whole house. I must have spent half hour combing through. I was missing it. I don't want to go through my old ones and so on and so forth. I said, I don't know what I did. And I knew it was in the house somewhere, because I'd used it the day before. It's not as though I went somewhere, because I can't take glasses off. So it's there with me. Can't find it. And so finally, I just sat down and just did a prayer to Ishvara. I said, Ishvara, you're playing tricks with me or what? Where are my glasses? Can you please tell me where they are? No answer. Of course, he won't say, your glasses are on turn left. He's not going to do that. So no answer, and I just so on and so forth. The next day, we have a room downstairs next to the garage. It's kind of like a guest room, which we hardly ever use. Hardly ever use. So the other day, my wife said, can you do me a favor? I bought some buttermilk, and I didn't have a place in this refrigerator. Go down to that room downstairs and get the buttermilk for me, will you? Because I'm busy cooking. So I go down, and on the counter are my glasses. I must have gone there about a week ago to put something in that refrigerator, and I completely forgot about it. I don't go there. Very next morning, I just found out. I said, oh God, you are so tricky. I cannot believe this. Reappeared. These kinds of things seem to happen to me all the time. And with this, my relationship with Ishvara just grows. I know he will come through with me. And if he doesn't, then I don't deserve it. I'm still at ease with myself. But I think more and more what I find is that you make Ishvara as party to yourself, to your own doing. Don't try to do everything, I'm responsible for this, and say, be humble. You are only one part of it. Ishvara is the major part of it. It will happen. So even at the Saguna level, one can sense the presence of the Purusha. If that is the case, imagine how powerful it would be if you could see the presence of Purusha as yourself. You can just imagine. And it happens. It happens. This is when you find the unity in your own heart. You don't try to force the unity outside. You accept the diversity. But in the diversity you find that there is the content which is the very content of the ocean. You're not focused on the waves, you are focused on the content of the waves. And when that happens, your sense of peace and joy and trust and lack of fear, abhaya pratishtham vindate, increases. All because I am looking for unity at the right place. I'm not trying to force it. So this is the sequence of Purusha Suktam. It's not just we talk about how this thing takes place, and we will continue to do so. But really the very essence of the Purusha Suktam are these points. Again, in summary, the essence of Purusha Suktam is, number one, to discover unity despite diversity. Not instead of diversity, but despite diversity. And secondly, to discover that in your own heart with the right attitude. So this we will see next time as we continue our travels through this. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Vidyorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Well, let's see if this laptop is back or not. If not, then we'll have to not do the question answer. This is very strange, really. I don't know what happened. Alright, let me power in. Password. Alright, seems to be working this time. I don't know what happened. Everything is well. So I'm going to joy and trust. Okay. Raj Velpuri says, I'm wondering about some things. Verse 5 itself does not appear to describe the sequence. Are you drawing from other Upanishads? No, it does. It does. We will see that in more detail, but all the parts of them are pretty much included in verse number 5. So we'll see how that happens. So yes, it does. Raj again, also, when you state creation of enjoyment, are you referring to creation of good-bad duality? Is the creation of happiness and sadness really a result of the past? Let's see, hold on. It says, it's interrupting me and says, Chrome OS system, sign in again. Can I do that later on? I'll try to do that later on. So let me read that again. So also when you state the creation of enjoyment, are you referring to the creation of good-bad duality? Is the creation of happiness, sadness really a result of the past karma from the past cycle? Yes, it does. So the creation here is not a brand new creation, it is a continuation of the creation. You're absolutely right, and we will again be, we'll say that, we will see that again. And I think that's all the questions that are there. I'll wait for a while and see if anyone has Lakshmi Kaushik, hello. I hope you're doing well. Haven't heard back from you for a while. Not back, but haven't heard from you. Good to see you. Lichi, Virendra Singh, Raj. I'll wait for any questions that might come. Surendra just chimed in. Okay, doesn't look like there's any more questions. All right, very good. Namaste. We will see you next week. Om.